Hi guys, so first things first, I just want to make it clear that this is not a paid review. We are not trying to push this product on anyone. In fact, Chris at Spray Guns Direct sent us this kit out as a tester kit just to get my thoughts on it and see what I thought about it. Now, I did like it that much that I decided to do a review, but as I say, this is in no way to try and push this product or anything like that. This is purely my thoughts on this product, and also a bit of a way after making the first review on the original liquid glass to touch base on a few, shall we say, troubleshooting tips that people have been asking me about this clear coat with solvent pop and things like that. So I've tried to include as much setup advice and as much of the temperatures and ratios and everything that I'm spraying this at, so you can get a bit more of an idea of what this clear coat really is actually like. So this review is the QUARTZ liquid glass from Spray Guns Direct, and it's the review on an extra fast clear coat. Now, this is a new version of the liquid glass they brought out. It's got a 10-minute bake time at 60 degrees, which I can vouch, it does come out absolutely perfect after a 10-minute bake. We set the booth to 60 degrees for 20 minutes, we gave it 10 minutes to warm up, and then 10 minutes for the actual bake cycle. Once this had cooled down and came out of the booth, we got straight on it and flat and polished it with no issues at all. Now, this car stayed in the workshop till the next day, and we checked it and there was no dieback or anything like that to worry about. Now, the actual liquid glass itself is marketed as a VHS clear. Now, that is one of the main problems that I've had with people sort of like on the troubleshooting side after we made the first video. Now, because it's a VHS, what the main thing to remember with this is your first coat needs to be an extremely light first coat. This stuff has got a good enough build and a good enough coverage that, to be quite honest with you, if you're doing something small like mirror covers or something like that, you could literally hit them with one really nice wet coat and call it a day at that, and it would be more than enough build for something like that. So if you're doing something like bumpers, etc., where you're trying to match a finish or you want a really nice finish, my recommendation would be set your gun for the first coat really low. I've got the gun here at 2 bar and at around about 1 to 1.5 turns out, which seems like not a lot at all, but I am just trying to put down the finest wet coat on this bumper for the on this job for the first coat that I can. Now, on the tin it does say that you can use it with a 0 flash off. Personally, I've never done that. That's not something that I do in my clear coat. Especially in this booth, I will give it 5 minutes at 25 degrees. Or for you guys that are spraying in an ambient temperature like we were in the Carcoon, just give it 10 minutes to flash off and the first coat to go tacky before you start smashing that second coat of clear coat on. Now, for the second coat you can wind it out to, I've got it at 2 turns here. It probably best about 2 to 2.5 turns. I got it on a 3/4 fan. You can put it on a full fan, that's not a problem, and again at 2 bar, and you can really get your second coat on nice and wet. Now, another one of the comments that I did have about the QUARTZ liquid glass was that it goes on quite peely, and I've included a little section at the end of this video on a BMW that I've just painted where you can see exactly that. It does go on quite peely, but within 60 seconds of actually putting it down, it will go really glassy and flow out really nicely. Now, that's probably one of the biggest things that I've had in the troubleshooting side, along with putting the first coat on too heavy, because people are trying to tend to load this up too much on the second coat to try and get the finish instantly as that clear coat's hitting the panel. Now, one thing with the liquid glass is, because it is a VHS, you need to give it that little bit of time to flow and settle, and then that will give you your final finish. That difference of 60 seconds makes a massive difference with a clear coat like this, and I would recommend that you do a little test panel or something first, put a coat down as you normally would, but just put a fine first coat and then put your second coat on as you normally would. A nice, really good wet coat. Don't worry if it looks a little bit peely when you finish painting the panel, because if you stand back and watch that panel for the next sort of 60 seconds, that panel will smooth out, flow out to an absolutely lovely finish. And I've included some pictures and some bits and pieces at the end of the video, so you can actually see the kind of finish that this stuff, you can get this to flow out to. because it really is a really nice clear coat. Now we were using the Max Mayer 0300, which again is a really good clear coat. It's a HS clear coat, so it's got a good body and a good build to it. But after these few jobs that we've painted in this week, after getting this to test, I have to say I do think that there's a good possibility that as a shop we are actually going to change over to using this for all our work. The gun finish that you can get with this is absolutely immaculate, and with it having a nice body, it will fill up any little tiny bits of dust or any little dirt nibs that you've got in the panel. So your flat and polishing time and everything like that is down to an absolute bare minimum. A job like this took around about 20 minutes to just nib out and polish, and then literally it was getting put back together. And most of that 20 minutes was trying to find out where the dirt nibs were rather than actually flattening and polishing them out, because there was so few little bits of dirt in it that it was just such an effortless job to finish off afterwards. And also the very short bake time means that you can optimise your boot time a lot more. You can get a job in, you can smash a really good gun finish on it, give it a really short bake and have it out in the workshop being rebuilt within 20 minutes of stopping spraying it. I have probably painted around about 8 or 9 jobs in this week, and I have to say I can't find a fault with this at all. I've had no solvent pop, no issues with silicone or anything like that, and I've been getting absolutely cracking gun finishes with this all week with this Pro Light, and also with the Segola 4600 Extreme as well, which I tried it with to do the review video for the Segola. And as I say, this wasn't a product that we were actually sent out to make a review for. They just literally sent this out, wanting to know what my thoughts on it were, and also the bake times and stuff like that. Because when I did see the bake times on the tin compared to the Max Mayer, I have to say it was a little bit dubious about 10 minutes at 60 degrees. Like I say, we had it on about 20 minutes, no more than that. If anything, it was a touch less. Just give the booth enough time to warm up. So it'd have that full 10 minutes at 60 degrees, and we had no issues whatsoever with it. And one thing that I will say is these tips and the advice that I am giving you on this clear coat is nothing that Spray Guns Direct have asked us to say. These are tips and advice that I've been giving people now on the channel that have been commenting or messaging us through Instagram about this, because we do tend to get a lot of messages through Instagram about certain clear coats, about certain guns, etc. And this has been my main advice to people that are getting any solvent pop issues or anything like that, is just make sure this is a, in your mind, this is a VHS clear coat, not an MS clear coat or something like that you're normally used to. So don't go absolutely smashing a first coat on there trying to get a massive build, because you just do not need it at all. And the only issues that I've really found with this clear coat so far have been down to application. And I know Darren, a friend of mine, does a lot of bike frames. He uses it and he said exactly the same thing. If you go heavy on that first coat and then heavy on your second coat, you're going to get issues with solvent pop. You just need that really nice light coat for your first one, and then a really nice wet coat for your second one. Give it 60 seconds or so to flow out, and your job's done and dusted. And you probably will notice as I'm actually going around this job, as I've been walking past the panels and that you will see that over the time of me moving around this car, the clear coat on the other panels that I've already painted has really flowed out really nice, and it's left you with that really nice smooth finish. Now, one thing that I would say is it's not just for getting the perfect glassy finishes with it. The BMW that I've just done with it, with the Segola, has given me an absolutely perfect factory finish. This particular job I'm not going for a glass finish because it's not going to match the rest of the car if I did. At these settings that I painted this door and how I loaded the clear coat up on this job, it gave me a bang on perfect factory finish. We literally spot polished this door where there's a few little bits of dust in the top of the actual door above the handle height, and then it matched the car's original finish perfectly. And as you can see there, that's not a finish and a reflection that you can really knock straight off the gun. You know, the finish, the reflection and the gloss off this clear coat is outstanding, really. We had to finesse up the rest of the car to make sure that these freshly painted panels didn't look too glossy compared to the rest of it. Now, I've included this short clip at the end here of the last bit I painted on this BMW, just so you can see what it's like with a different gun and also on a different kind of textured peel car, because obviously the BMWs and the Fords are quite far apart as far as their peel texture goes. So you can use this clear coat for doing your everyday refinishing jobs, and not just sort of show cars and stuff like that, which is what I used to use it mainly for. And as you can see there again, the reflection off that is absolutely stunning. Now the main reason that I left this clip in is for you guys that have been saying to me that it goes on a little bit peely. So if you watch this panel here, this is the second coat, and as you'll see, that's quite peely off the gun there. It's not a really flat finish, but by the time we get to this panel in a few seconds, after I've just had a quick look down the side of this car and had a quick little check, if you check that finish again, it is absolutely outstanding and faultless. So I hope you've enjoyed my thoughts on the liquid gas, guys. This is on the extra fast. I will leave a link in the description to Spray Guns Direct and to the product for you if you want to take a look at it. But like I say, we're in no obligation to get you guys to buy this or to try and look at it. And I hope you've enjoyed all the information we've managed to pop in there. So that's it from me, guys, and I'll see you again soon.